It's just me and you. Now we're on all the channels, not only Instagram, but Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. Welcome, everybody. Come on in. You know the drill. We're opening the Akashic Records. Say hello once you get here. You guys hear that? Hear the bell ringing for class. Welcome. This is Akashic Answers with Emily. If it's the first time you have been here, and if it's the first time you are here, I'm going to invite you to type hello in the chat, like our boy Kai Van Bodie here in the house. Scott, hello. Also, let us know where you're tuning in from, because what's happening right now in this moment is we are creating a collective grid of consciousness where any aha moment that any one of us have gets to flow through this grid of consciousness and illuminate us all. Not only those of us who are here now live, but it will illuminate everyone who is on the replay, and it will also illuminate the consciousness or the thoughts of everybody you encounter. We are, in essence, the carriers of wisdom, of consciousness, of intelligence. And just by you beginning to envision this collective grid, you are allowing yourself to participate more dynamically in what is the greatest expansion of consciousness happening in the galaxy right now. And it's happening as we wake up and we remember the truth of who we are and what we actually have access to as human beings. I'm Emily Harrison, founder, director of the Akashic Academy, coming to you live from Reno, Nevada, super close to Lake Tahoe, where the Kundalini energy of the planet surfaces and it flows on the surface of the planet following the Truckee River, which is just about a mile that way, a stone's throw, as they say. Yeah, you can see the holes in I'm still wearing my yoga gear. We are not so lucky as to have hot water here in my house this morning. The hot water is off, so yeah. Still in yoga gear? I doubt you care. You're here for the intelligence. So we are profoundly supported by the consciousness grids and the vortex that is here right now. See if you can just tap in and feel that Kundalini energy, dynamic feminine energy, which we all have, whether you are masculine or feminine, however you're showing up. We all have the pronoun of her within us, and your her, your divine high priestess, divine feminine energy is your intuition or your ability to know something instantly, which all humans are wired with. And what we're going to experience today is tapping into the Akashic Record. So if you're new to the Akashic Record or Akashic Records, you'll hear me refer to it both ways. The records are the realm of consciousness where every detail of your past, your present, all possible futures has been recorded. It's an etheric library of sorts. And not only does every person on the planet have an Akashic Records, your animals have Akashic Records, crystals have Akashic Records. You'll see me probably use this tuning fork a bit. My tuning fork has an Akashic Record. The relationships that you have, your business has an Akashic Record, and we even can tap into off-planet records. So our solar system has an Akashic Record. The galaxy has an Akashic Record. The amazing thing about this etheric zone of technology, this point of extracting data, is that this information has been virtually hidden on our planet since the time of Atlantis, since the time of ancient Egypt. We haven't had as much fluid access to esoteric knowledge. This knowledge has been hidden and suppressed. Why? Because it is supremely powerful. And when you understand that you have the ability to tap into all of the intelligence in the universe, you become all powerful and you can destroy people with this. Except there's a little time lock that has now been placed on the Akashic Records. And the time lock is love, self-love. So you must undergo a journey of self-purification, which is really burning out all the karmic aspects or areas where you don't love yourself or where you are holding negative energy, so that you can fully tap into this resource that's available. And it ensures that you will use this for your highest good and the highest good of everyone connected to you. That's why the records were physically removed from the planet after Atlantis. There are certain places that you can go. This knowledge is returning to us, of where you can have this level of access, but you don't need to go anywhere. You have a copy of the Akashic Records within your DNA, and as your DNA comes online, you will have more and more access to this level of intelligence. Where are the Akashic Records located? My teacher taught they were located in seventh dimension space-time. If you watch Gaia and you watch Matteo Stefano, you guys probably know Matteo. I can never remember his full name or pronounce it correctly, but he talks a lot about the Akashic Record, and he talks about it being an eighth dimension space-time. Well, I'm here to encourage you to realize the Akashic Record is now. Where is it located? It's located in the now. So I'm going to invite you all to begin to activate your connection with the Akashic Record right now. Deep breath in. And let yourself come into this now moment, letting go of everything that happened before this moment. Let go of everything that you still have to show up to today. And pat yourself on the back for being a human, showing up ready to understand the truth of who you are and what your mission is here on the planet. Because whether you recognize it or not, I recognize this in you, which is why I show up to talk to you every week and inspire you to get big and to remember the truth of who you are. But I recognize that every single person who comes across my path, whether you're here live or whether you are here on the replay, you are here to affect positive change on the planet, to have impact on the planet. Your soul has agreed to be here during this time to support the planet, and the intelligence of your mission is already flowing through this space. How the Akashic Record communicates with you is through your thoughts, specifically through your imagination. So you might notice color, shape, sound. And actually, as more and more of us come online, when I say it's through your imagination, it is through the thoughts and through the non-tangible aspects of how you experience life, which is the subtle energy. It's the thought, it's the feeling that moves through your body. But as more and more of us turn online, these communication points from the Akashic Records are moving from an impression. Think about the impressionistic artists, where it's a little blurry still. Think of Monet's, into what feels like more solid, more clear, more very tangible energy shifting. So a lot of you will hear ringing in your ears. You will notice sensation moving through the body. This is all a sign that the intelligence is working. Send some love, likes, hearts across the screen if this is landing for you today. I have some topics that I want to talk with you about in addition to answering your questions live. So please begin lighting up the chat box with your questions for the Akashic Records. Any area of your life where you feel stuck, where you maybe are at a crossroads and you want to know which direction to take, an area of your life where you want change, where you want expansion. You have the ability to make all of these shifts. And my intention today is that as you are here in this space, your divine intelligence begins to turn on, your innate, the copy of your Akashic Records that is in your DNA, so that we can all step into a higher level of leadership, self-leadership here on the planet. There are also some really great topics that we open discussion this week on my personal timeline on Facebook. One has to do with privacy, and the other has to do with immortality. So I'm going to address both of those things quickly. I'm going to tap into the records, and then we will get to your questions. The beautiful thing about what happens in this space is not only am I going to bring intelligence through from the Akashic Records, but I'm also going to ask for a transmission, an energy that will move through this space that will begin to activate you. So it's not just intelligence up here, but there's a shift on the cellular level that allows you to show up differently, to think differently, to choose a different behavior or a different response. And by the way, if you are even choosing your response in life, give yourself a pat on the back. Because one way that you will know that you are still asleep is that you have no choice in your response. You react to things. If you are at the stage of your growth and your development where you are choosing your response, or you're even asking yourself a question, maybe you still choose your lower dimension. I still do at times. But if you even notice that you're asking yourself about what the best response is going to be, you are definitely at a place in your life where you are waking up. All right, so I'm going to tap in. First, I want to get intelligence about privacy because I had a download dropping in earlier this week about privacy and about how privacy is and transparency is not even something that is experienced in the higher frequencies of consciousness. All right, so tapping into the guides here and just asking, what intelligence, my whole clairsentience just, my whole body. Maybe you felt that too. If you did, you're tapping in too. All right, so tapping in and asking about privacy and what the Akashic guides want to share that will be the most beneficial here in this space. Okay, so what I'm hearing is that true, privacy does not exist in the higher realms. And by higher, they mean a finer frequency. So I want you to think octave. Okay, but the same note, the high C note up here in this higher octave where we have full transparency is the exact same energy as the lower C octave down here where we are hiding things. And sometimes we hide things for the purpose of protecting ourselves and safety because we don't feel comfortable being fully expressed. Sometimes we hide things because we need to cloak energy, just like I talked about the Akashic Records being this incredibly powerful resource of knowledge that in the wrong hands allows us to manipulate other people. Sometimes it's important when we are in these lower density or again, I don't want it to feel like hierarchy because one of the reasons we incarnate in a physical planet, which is a physical planet is very dense, is so we can have an experience with consciousness, with love, with bliss, with the smell of these flowers, which by the way, I walk in my room and these hyacinths, I'm just like, whoo, they perfume the whole room. Guess what? You can't smell the hyacinths in the higher frequency dimensions. So in order to have an experience with consciousness, we incarnate in a dense reality like Earth, like where we are here now. Doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. It just means we're at a slower vibrational frequency so that we can have an experience. Otherwise, when things are vibrating too high, it's like just putting your hand right through the wall, which we know is true as well. So sometimes in these lower vibrational frequencies, it's important to cloak energy. Ooh, my whole body just buzzed there. And what that allows is in the right time, those who need to see it can see it. What the guides are speaking right now about the Akashic Records is the Akashic Records are a tool that will level hierarchy on the planet. So once we come online and everybody has access to intelligence, which is the most valuable resource in the cosmos, in the entirety of the galaxy, the most valuable resource is intelligence. It's not gold. It's not cash. It's intelligence. And the beautiful thing is right now here on this planet, we are experiencing a waking up, a remembrance. And I want to thank Steve Jobs. Thank you, Stevie, for his role in this, because as the internet, and we all have access to our Apple devices or whatever device you're using at this point that connects us into the internet or this larger database of intelligence, it is giving humans the framework to remember what the Akashic record even is, so that we can all begin to tap in. So back to privacy and the idea of leveling hierarchy, part of that includes us all having access to the same intelligence and all intelligence. So once we all come back online in that way, we can't lie to each other. Furthermore, there's no need to lie to each other, because we feel safe and totally confident being fully self-expressed in who we are. And while we're incarnating here in this octave that we're in here on planet Earth, the contrast, or that fear that we feel of being fully self-expressed, is actually a tool that allows us to know ourselves more dynamically. It is a tool that allows us to experience consciousness, experience growth. If this is making sense, send some love, likes, hearts across the screen. Our job is to disengage from the polarity, and we see most everything through polarity, but to disengage from that idea of polarity and calling things good or bad, and seeing things in octaves, seeing the value in something that may feel dense or negative. There is a gift in every single dense, negative, wounding experience that we have that allows ourselves to grow, and it becomes our teacher. Cool. If this is supporting you and you are feeling the shifts, I'm going to invite you to share this, because again, the more people we have, we are all a one mind. And the more of our one mind family that we bring back into this space, the faster each one of us get to come back online. This is a collective effort to turn around the barge of consciousness that's happening here on our planet. I mean, in some sense, it's like a fight of good versus evil, of shadow versus light, of will we succumb to our old patterns, or will we step into the higher frequency of who we are? And a lot of times it's easy to put this outside of us and project it out here in the world, where it looks like the government messing things up, or society, or the police, or XYZ. What I want you to do is see that it's all a reflection of what's happening inside of you. And if you can pull this experience of how you are viewing the fight in the outside world and see where the fight is happening within you, where your higher self wants you to be able to exist outside of your programming. Your programming comes from your family, from society, from the news that you watch. Stop watching the news. And you will be able to claim your freedom again, because you are sovereign and you can claim what you want to experience. You want to experience great wealth? Great, claim it. You want to experience love and connection in your relationships and stop being drawn into so many narcissistic relationships over and over again? Great, claim it. You want to break cycles of generational pain and anguish? Great, claim it. And then you know what you have to do? You have to learn to source and resource that energy from within, meaning you choose every single moment how you want to feel, rather than letting the outside world determine what that looks like. Okay, I'm going to tap in now. I'm going to move on to, we got some great questions coming in here. Got great questions from Kai, from Robert. All right, we're going to, Susan, we're going to tap into these questions here. If you have questions, get them typed in the comments. I want to just take a moment and transition now into immortality. Aaron G commented on a post on my timeline earlier this week and asked what the Akashic Records had to say about immortality and cells never dying. And so I'm going to tap in and see what the Akash wants to share with us about immortality. Okay, the Akashic Records are saying immortality is definitely real, and there there's evidence of this everywhere. Most of you who have had experience in traditional religion are indoctrinated into the understanding that the soul never dies. But again, so immortality and death, same energy existing in different octaves, just like the energy that we talked about before with privacy and full transparency. It's all the same energy. It's just existing in a different octave. There are some octaves, what the guides are saying right now, when it comes to immortality, where consciousness exists. However, it's never enlivened in the first place. So that would look like what they're showing me are rocks and crystals. So they have consciousness, but they are never an animated life force energy like I'm moving for you right now. And so they never die because they never live in that way. I'm going to invite you to take what resonates, tweak what doesn't. Your guides are the guides are speaking to all of you now. And your job isn't to be like, oh, well, I don't believe in that, or that's wrong, or that doesn't resonate with me. If you are noticing any of that energy coming up, that's your resistance, and it's coming up so you can breathe through it and let it go and just shift into a new perspective. Release the necessity, the programmed necessity within you to decide if you agree or disagree. And allow yourself to consider everything. Okay, so they're talking about these lower forms of immortality, and then we move up into this spectrum of human life where we experience a life and a death. And what the guides are saying is that that's actually important. Yes, there have been avatars who have come into this incarnation and have had immortal life, and the ancient Egyptians, and there were great studies about how to achieve this. However, what I'm hearing right now is that there was a point along the way when our telomere, that's a part of the cell, was purposely cut. And so the lifespan of the human shortened after that. Okay. And now it's cool we have Kai in the house, because Kai, if you're still here, you will appreciate this when I talk about Alex Moscow. So Alex Moscow, one of my great mentors along the way, taught me business. One of my great mentors who taught me business. I really geek out on business. I've learned from a lot of amazing beings here on the planet. But Alex was helping me with my Core Genius program, Learn to Read the Akashic Records. And it's a 3-month program. And he asked me, hey, Emily, could you shorten that and make it an 8-week program? And my resistance came up at first, and I'm like, oh no, they need that much time in the records, which still may be true. But my resistance came up, and I wasn't even able to consider, could we do it in a shorter amount of time? And so Alex reframed it for me, and he said, hey, if you could lose 10 pounds in 1 month, or you could lose 10 pounds in 3 months, which would you choose? And I was like, oh, okay, I get it. There is scientific evidence that it's easier to create a big impact or a bigger transformation in our life in a shorter period of time. So what happens is, if we stretch out how long we give ourselves to accomplish a goal, the chances of us accomplishing it actually go down. When we get really clear and concentrate the goal that we want to experience in a shorter amount of time, the likelihood of us doing it is actually greater. And a lot of what I've heard about the telomere being cut has to do with reptilian or negative forces, Draco forces, what we would consider darker, denser, negative, the bad guy energy coming in, which, by the way, I've identified a lot of reptilian energy within my own DNA. Part of the bad reptilians, these lower vibrational frequency ones, the bad guys. See how it feels like they're not so bad when I sort of make fun of them, and we're it's like facing the demon in a dream. We disengage their power. Nobody has power over you anyway. Okay, but there are parts of me that I have noticed are less sentient, or I have less compassion or less empathy. I'm like, yeah, just get off your ass and do it. Like, stop bitching about whatever. And foul mouth. That's the reptilian in me. But I'm like, get off your ass and do something different. Like, make a decision and claim an energy that you want to experience and do what you need to do. Set yourself up so that you can have that growth experience and stop complaining and being slave to your circumstances. Like, come on, people. And that doesn't always show the maximum amount of empathy for those of us who have been repeatedly in painful situations, maybe abusive situations, ancestral abuse. And so I'm learning to be more, I do with my kids a lot, I notice. They're teenagers. I forget their frontal lobes aren't fully developed. They can't help it that they only think about themselves at this point. And I want them to be more evolved and more advanced. But when I bring them back into, or I bring myself back into a state of, I learned this from my new friend Ronan yesterday, asking, what does my child need from me in this moment? See, my parenting is a place where I can get very reactive rather than choosing my responses. And so I'm consciously working on that. But that's an area where my reptilian energy comes in. Okay, so back to the idea of being able to create constant transformation in a concentrated amount of time. That's actually easier than stretching out over, let's just take Noah, for example. I can't remember if he was 800 or 900. Moses about the same in there, 800 or 900. The conclusion that we've come to is that it's actually easier to create transformation and growth, and there's evolution. Here's the other thing, is that there's evolution that happens through each generational cycle. So the generations that come after us they're either smarter and more evolved, or they're dumber and less evolved. Forgive my very elementary vocabulary. Just keeping it real for all of us here. All right. We either get more sensitive and more enlightened, or we desensitize and we become less evolved, or we fall from grace. But there is a steady cycle in either direction. Make sense? So if we can shorten those evolutionary periods, meaning shorten your incarnation, it actually speeds up the evolution of the entire planet, because it allows each person, as we are incarnating in this experience, to get more done in a shorter amount of time. So about 75 years versus 800 years, we get the shit done. Doesn't take us 800 years to build the ark and save certain species on the planet. We get it done. You build your ark in a shorter amount of time so that the next generation has more evolution, or a more concentrated experience of evolution. This is awesome, by the way. I'm totally learning stuff here, because I always felt like it was the bad guys that cut our telomere, effed us up along the way. Now we're not living as long as we used to live. When this is actually creating a different opportunity and expression for humans. Ooh, what I'm hearing right now too is, and for any of you who are interested, go into your records and look at this, because infinite possibility exists in the records. There is a version of planet Earth where the telomere were not chopped and beings there are immortal. And there was also a version of Earth where the lower like the rocks and the crystals, it's only rocks and crystals. There's not animated life force energy there. And for those of you who want to take a look at what those two different circumstances look like, now you have the grid points, meaning, hey, let me look at this potential timeline. You can astral travel and look at that. You could also astral travel and look at the purely crystalline connection. And what I'm also hearing is that both of those versions of Earth are connected into us right now in this moment, and sharing that intelligence with us. How cool is that? All right. If that felt powerful to you, send some love, likes, hearts across the screen. Kai, thank you. My shadow is integrated. I feel like I want to go back to your first question, Kai. And regarding the shadow, I personally feel like that is what the modern day guru looks like, is we don't get to be born into this planet like Yeshua or Buddha, Lao Tzu, some of these great beings that came in fully embodied. Yogananda is a great one, but he talks about being born with all of his psychic senses on and his ability to remember past lives. Great. You guys pointed a great way for us. You mapped it out really nice. But shit ain't fully working here. So what we're noticing, or what I'm noticing now, is that we have to, as masters, which I'm going to call you all out here for being masters, whether you are watching now or on the replay, but as you incarnate into this experience, you agree to fully forget and wake up in real time in this short amount of time. Right? This is like you're losing your 10 pounds in a month. And then once we actually transmute in real time, what happens is that grid, though, we enliven the grid in the beginning, that intelligence begins to run through everyone and allow everybody to wake up. But we've got to learn by doing, not just learning by reading the great map and being like, okay, I will love my neighbors. Then you freaking forget when you go out and your neighbor pisses you off. Okay, Kai says, what is step 1 to open our connection with the records? Is there a resource for codes or invocations to connect up? Yes, let's just send them through right now. So let me just ground in and okay. So they're flashing through several files. Just give me step 1. It's like there are beginning steps. There's a collection of beginning steps. I'm going to try to put those in exact order. So the first step is getting really clear on our why, or why this is important. What is it that I need? Oh, I'm recognizing that I am stuck in my business. My business doesn't seem to be growing. I need help. I recognize I'm repeating patterns in my relationships and my relationships are unfulfilling. I need help. So getting really clear on what the specific thing is that we're going in for. It's not like a psychic reading where you go and you sit down at the psychic and she or he begins to tell you everything they see about you. It's about getting really clear and specific. And the guides are saying it's real. The connection is that that's where we take our power back. And you can only enter the Akashic Records in a state of empowerment, which I've never heard that before. So this is getting clear on what it is that we're seeking is what brings us back into a state of empowerment. Step 1. Okay. Step 2 is raising our vibrational frequency, because everybody has access to this space, but it's learning to hold a high frequency so that you are a match to the energy, to what it is that you're looking for. And to be even more specific about that, it's self-love. Because when you truly love yourself, you are also going to be able to truly love everyone else around you. And it's that state of loving everyone else around you that ensures you are going to use this intelligence for your highest good and the highest good of everyone connected to you. So step 1 is getting really clear about what information you want to extract and understanding this is step 1 in taking your power back. The Akashic Records are here to free us from the matrix, to give you access to intelligence, the most valuable resource in the galaxy, so that you can get out of where you are stuck. Jesus can't help you. Buddha can't help you. The psychic down the street can't help you. Yeah, they can help you. Sorry, that was just a cool little monologue I was on and on a roll. Of course, we know that they can help point us in the right direction. They can help, we can Okay, in the lower octave, it looks like siphoning energy. In the higher octave, it looks like a transmission. We're sharing energy. But there is an energetic exchange that you can get from these beings who are more connected to the esoteric realms that can help raise your vibrational frequency. But you must do the work. We are in an age where nobody can save you. You must learn to save yourself. And that's where your freedom lies. And that's why easiest step one, empowerment, is getting clear on what you want and claiming it. Okay? Makes sense? If this is making sense, and some love across the screen. Step two is the self-love, which ensures that you can get the highest level of intelligence because you're not going to mess anyone else up with it. You're not going to misuse your power. Okay? Let's bring through some codes now for this. What I'm hearing is check out 528 hertz, 528 hertz on the solfeggio scale. Begin listening to this. It will adjust the vibrational frequency of your cells. Really important. And then right now, we're going to just tap into the heart. Self-love. And it's not, self-love is not just about learning to love yourself and to take care of yourself. It's about doing the purification work that clears your karma. Karma is an unlearned lesson. If you are repeatedly banging your head against the wall because you're financially drained, that is a karmic lesson and evidence of where you're not fully loving yourself. And that work needs to be done. Okay. If you are continually inviting the narcissistic relationships into your field, you don't fully love yourself. You have not learned the lesson, and that work needs to be done. Keep tapping on the heart. Think of the area of your life that you are the most stuck in right now. And then Kai, I'm going to bring in some intelligence that I learned in class with you last week. By the way, I'm training with Kai Bambodi right now in Power Mastery. Make sure you check him out. And the idea of the convergent thought. So bringing all of your awareness into the heart now where we're tapping. And what happens is when you bring convergent or a one focus into this part of, or any part of your body, you are activating the innate intelligence in this part of the body. You are increasing the blood flow. Good. And your job is to notice, because 90% of the work that we will do here in this space happens afterwards. It happens in your thoughts. So your job is to notice new thoughts coming in. And if you instantly have resistance to these new thoughts, you are going to shut down this flow, this transmission. So catch yourself if you're in resistance and be like, oh yeah, I don't have to agree or disagree right now. I just have to notice. Good. Now move into a divergent focus outward. Okay, and as you move outward, you're shifting to all the space around you. Just notice 360 degrees, the space around you, and notice how the consciousness or the awareness is now non-local. Good, now switch back to heart. One spot. Convergent, divergent. And that comes from Joe Dispenza. And the scientific research has shown us that when you can switch back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, you're going to have the best results. All right, give it up for Kai, everybody. Woo! Okay, Robert is next. So a clear crystallized vision is vital to getting the most out of our questions from the Akash. Yes, sir, 100%. I thought I was pulling your question up here. I'm going to go back to your question up here, Robert. But yes, we've got to have crystal clear questions to ask. Okay, so remember how I talked about the internet is bringing this online, or the idea of the Akashic Records online? It's bringing this concept from obscurity where this esoteric knowledge was buried into the forefront for everyone because of the internet. That's why I was thinking Mr. Steve Jobs. up there and what he did to bring us online. Because once a human has a physical experience with something, which is, again, why we incarnate as human beings, so we can have physical experiences with the flowers. You can't smell the flowers. You can't stop and smell the roses all up in oneness. Everything is, oh, there's no contrast. So we need the contrast in order to experience ourselves. But the records work by what's known as invitation only, which means we have to invite forward the intelligence that we're looking for. Just like on the internet, you can't just open your computer and be on the internet and get the information, all the information. You use a search engine like Google and you type in a specific question. And the more specific the question, the more specific the answer that comes back. Okay, Robert says, can you dive deeper into the impact of the Akashic Records on intuition? All right, the first thing the guides want to define intuition, and that is your ability to know something instantly. And everybody has the ability to know something instantly, and it happens really based on the questions that we ask. And so the first thing that the guides want to talk about regarding the questions is notice how many questions you are subconsciously asking yourself in a moment. Why did the kids not unload the dishwasher like I asked them? Why is everybody cutting me off in traffic? Why this? Why that? We're constantly asking ourselves questions, and then based on our vibrational frequency, the answer instantly comes in. So we think that we're talking to ourselves, but you're not actually talking to yourselves. Your brain is a piece of technology that your observer is programming. And if your observer doesn't know that it's the observer in programming, then you're functioning on default. But when your observer recognizes that, oh, my brain is this piece of, I was going to call it AI. Hopefully y'all don't write in about this. Just look at it as a metaphor. Okay. So your brain is this piece of AI that your observer, your higher self, your consciousness gets to program to use for you. Or if you don't program it and you let it we're programming it anyway. But you can default it by not showing up as your observer and programming it. And then the thing runs rampant. It runs on its own. Your mind gets a mind of its own. Okay. But what's really happening is that the brain is a piece of technology that when the observer asks a question, the brain's job is to find the answer. So here's a great secret. If you want to make more money in your life, ask yourself, why is it so easy for me to make X amount of money that I want? And what happens is your brain goes looking for that answer. But if you ask yourself, why am I always broke? Your brain goes looking for that answer too. So your reality will bend to align with whatever you're thinking, whatever your thoughts are. So this is where if you can learn to become the observer of your thoughts and you can choose your thoughts, you begin to have more control over how reality shows up to play back to you. Okay, so back to the idea of how does the Akashic record connect to and inform our intuition? So your intuition is working anyway, regardless of what frequency you're tapped into. The Akashic record is the realm of consciousness where all information, past, present, and future, is recorded from a neutral perspective, no charge, no polarity. Neutral does not mean meh, comme ci, comme ça. No, neutral is unconditional love and zero judgment. So when our observer raises our vibrational frequency and we ask questions from that desire to know from this state of neutrality or non-judgment, it's way different than interacting with the Akash or the ether that is all around us. So Akash is a Sanskrit word that means ether. And the ether, the intelligence or consciousness all around us, is recording everything, not just from this neutral perspective of unconditional love. It's recording everything. So that's why if you ask a question from the frequency of, I'm pissed off that the kids did not unload the dishwasher because I asked them 10 times. From that energy and that story, I was an actress before this, which is why I act so much of this out for y'all. Okay. From this perspective of, I asked them 10 times, why aren't they unloading the dishwasher? That energy frequency, that vibration, because I know myself, I can tell you what the answer is going to trigger the story that Emily has, that I don't have enough support in my life. And so the answer that's going to come back into my field, or I'm going to instantly know, because your intuition means what you can download instantly, is going to match the vibrational frequency of my issue, my trauma. You want to know where that trauma comes from? It comes from a past life experience of leading people through the Underground Railroad. I only know this through my Akashic record. And I was on a solo journey leading people through by myself, a little bit scared. My light burned out as I was going. I was like, where's my backup? And so that's unresolved. And so it carries over into this lifetime. And I get to work on it here. All right, I want everybody to close your eyes, take a deep breath in, ask your innate to show you a past life unresolved issue that you're dealing with in this lifetime. And at the end of the breath, I want you to have that apparent, and we're going to work with it. Okay? Trust your intuition, your ability to know things instantly. Trust that you are in the frequency of your Akashic record right now, and you're going to get that intelligence. Deep breath in. Exhale. Following the breath, arriving at the end of the breath. What's the issue that you want to work with? Know it now. Good. So we're going to work with that in the Akashic record. So again, back to Robert's question. Our intuition is working whether we're connected into the records, the Akashic record, or just the Akash that's all around us, the ether, the energy that's all around us. If you connect with the energy that's all around you, you are going to be getting the vibrational frequency back that you are showing up with. If you can raise your vibrational frequency and go into the Akashic record, which is where we access intelligence through zero charge or through unconditional love and zero judgment, the question might look totally different. The question might look like, how can I get the children on board with my vision to keep our house clean? How can I excite the children or let them know the importance of their role in the community here so that they show up and participate in a more enlightened way rather than scoffing or forgetting? So when I ask that question, or my vibrational frequency is higher, or it's a match to the records where I am truly seeking the highest good of myself and everyone connected to me, this one unit of my family, the way I ask the question is different. So the intelligence that instantly comes back to me is different. So how do we work on ourselves to raise that vibrational frequency? It's really about clearing your karma. And once you get your karma cleared, you as an individual, me as an individual, will begin to operate from this state of neutrality, which is unconditional love. That's when we fully step into 5D consciousness, where the baseline resonance of every human is peace, love, and joy. And we give up competing with each other in favor of collaborating with one another. Make sense? Cool. Send some love, likes, hearts across the screen. if this is making sense. Susan wants to know about the role in my business. All right, so Susan, this would be a great example of getting more specific about what it is that you want. There can be more empowerment and more claiming even in this moment with what do you want your role to be? Do you want your role to be one of higher leadership? Do you want your role to be more hands off? What I'm getting right now is that what you really want is your role to be more hands off and you want the business to run itself. Yet claiming that doesn't really feel okay because you have a program running that says the harder I work, the more I deserve success. But what you really want is time with that little one who's in the picture there with you. What you really want is freedom and abundance to travel the planet with that little one and the others and teach them about human life through experience. And you don't want to be slave to your business. So there's a conflict there in what you feel makes you a good business owner and what you really want. Thank you, Susan, for this, because there are many people out there, the guys are telling me, myself included, of where we can begin to shift or bring into congruence claiming what we really want versus what we think makes us good at XYZ. So find that for yourself now. And then want to connect the dots between that and the past life. Remember the deep breath in and the exhale. And I said, know now what that issue is. The guides want to begin to bring light or intelligence into both of these two pieces of intelligence. They are connected for all of us out here. What we really want versus what we think is good or claiming or what we're willing to claim. And the reason we do that is because we're afraid of exile or being extradited from the tribe or accepted. Humans we're not lone wolves. We are we're meant to exist in tribe, in community. And so and that's why social status is so important in this modern day and age. And if we don't appeal to social status or take that into consideration and our social status can go down, it's like getting excommunicated from the tribe, and inherently we don't want that. So it can be really difficult to claim what it is that our spirit, our soul is really asking for, because we might get looked down upon by people around us. And if we're not, yeah, I'm just going to say that about that. So it creates this incoherence, this disharmony within the human, and a great opportunity to learn. Stop judging ourselves so much. Stop judging others so much. Just let ourselves be in the human experience. A lot of that slave mentality has been almost, what the words I'm hearing are, bred into our DNA, into our experience, and that needs to get shut off as a collective. And this is not something that is new for any of us in this lifetime. It comes from a past lifetime. All right, so the issue that you found at the end of the breath about 10 minutes ago, maybe 5 minutes ago. I'm talking fast. Could have been only 5. And this idea of that issue creating a disharmony within you because what you want is different than what you are claiming. Close your eyes. I want you to see 2 balls of light, one about your third eye and one down here at solar plexus. Holding both of these states of awareness at the same time. See them as colored balls of light. They can be any color you want. My top one is blue, my bottom one is green. Just instantly go with whatever is there. They do not have to be the same color as the chakras that are associated with them. And now with your awareness, bringing those 2 balls of energy together into the heart space, And as they merge, what we're doing is we're creating an opportunity, an embodied experience in our imagination in the quantum field where we're bringing harmony to these 2 points, and just see the ball, a mixture of the 2 colors, and then reabsorb that energy back into the heart space. Good work. Awesome. We're going to take one more question here in the 5 minutes that we have left. Going for an hour today. I love it. Thank you all for being here. All right. So Claire says, what is the best way to overcome blocks like fear and skepticism when attempting to access the records? Awesome question, Claire. One of the biggest challenges, and we talked about what you need in the beginning stages. I would say this would be number 3. We talked about the first 2, which are re-empowering yourself, getting clear on what you want to ask. And the second thing is raising your vibrational frequency so that you are in a state of self-love, which will give you the most access to the records. Step 3 is, all right, how do I begin to trust myself in the Akashic Records? Which is a question I get all the time, and something that we work on in my training courses, where we learn how to repeatedly tap in and read the records. We clear the karma or that self-purification, that self-love that's necessary for you to get the highest level information. We go through that. And then the advanced stage is learning to tap into your unique genius. So you can be like Steve Jobs, and you can fully and very clearly understand and articulate your mission here on the planet and ask the right questions that help you reverse engineer the intelligence. But we'll all start somewhere. And so when you're starting in the beginning, one of the biggest questions I get is, how do I know that I'm not making this up? Or how do I learn to trust my intuition? First, how do you know you're not making this up? Well, if you just got here, watch the whole video, or I can't tell you what the timestamp is, but the guides talked about earlier in this broadcast right here, how your brain works and how it's a piece of technology that's just sending and receiving intelligence. So once you understand that, you know that you're not actually making anything up. You're just experiencing the system. You're just experiencing the big old video game. Okay? If you do not trust your intuition, or you have fear that comes up, or you have skepticism that comes up, you simply just need to use your intuition more. You haven't cultivated enough of a relationship with your intuition or your ability to know something instantly. It's like going to the gym and working out. And your intuition will fill in the gap of what your logical mind will miss. You must have your intuition if you want to be as successful as you can, have the best relationship you can. I mean, we are at a state where we desire as a collective to know our potential and to experience the height of our potential. You will not get there if you are skeptical about your intuition. It's time to start growing your intuition. Because there will come a point when you need that intelligence of your intuition, and you won't be able to trust it because you haven't done the work. It's like trusting yourself to run a marathon. If you have not trained your body to run a marathon, you're damn right you're not going to show up on the day of the race and get through the race. Like, are you kidding me? But if you go to the gym regularly and you do the workout and you get a trainer and you eat the right foods and you begin to exercise and work your intuition and you create this relationship with your intuition, you're going to know it and you're going to trust it. And you're going to be like, oh yeah, of course. So if you are at a state where you don't fully trust your intuition yet, find a mentor or a guide that's going to require you and take you through a process that's going to allow you to get there. But if you're not ready for that aspect and you're really just starting, I'm going to put a link in the comments for you, or you can go to the akashicacademy.com, go to free resources, and there is a free training, a 30-minute training there that will give you really practical exercises that you can do every day within your imagination that will increase your intuition, and you will begin to trust it and begin to not be skeptical and not be fearful of it. But the best way is to work it out. Develop a regularity, a consistency with it. Love your intuition. Get curious about it. One of the reasons it's not available to you, this is the collective you, is because we've been brainwashed to think that that is silly or woo-woo or witchy or whatever. Fill in the blank with whatever. And so what happens is that keeps you dumbed down. Cool. If this has served you, I want to, again, invite you to share this out, share this broadcast out. There's somebody in your life, in your field, one of your friends or family who is needing something that came through in this space today, and you get to be a conduit, passing the energy, continuing to circulate the intelligence around the planet. And I thank you for your role in that. I also want to extend an exclusive invitation to all of you who are still here, who are watching on the replay, that there is a brand new program that we've released at the Akashic Academy that will help you maintain this high vibrational frequency, this frequency of loving yourself and loving others, and keep you tapped into what I call miracle consciousness, which miracle consciousness, miracles feel, they feel like maybe they don't happen very often. Maybe they feel like you have to pray to God for this many hours in order to get a miracle. Miracle consciousness simply means you are holding a vibrational frequency where infinite possibility exists to you, and you can pick the one that suits you the best. But that requires us to hold the frequency of 5D, baseline resonance of peace, love, and joy. And so we have a new program within the Akashic Academy. It's a monthly membership program called the Ether that is specifically designed to keep you in that frequency. And it is a minimal investment. It's $22 a month, $22 per month. And inside that space, you get a private member channeling and activation. Once a month, you get daily text reminders, which it's this daily repetition of unplugging from the areas where we are trapped in the matrix and plugging back into higher frequency intelligence that will help you maintain that frequency of miracle consciousness. If you scroll back up to the very top, I left the link for the Ether for you all up there. Claire says, please drop a link. Let me see if it's still in my, yeah, oh, it is. Check that out. All right, coming up for you, Claire. I look forward to welcoming you all and working with you more deeply in that space. Yep, Susan says, love the Ether. I love it. For the purpose of really integrating in your biggest aha moment today, I want you to type it in the comments. What was your biggest takeaway from this broadcast today? What will happen is you will move it from this idea of, oh, wow, that made sense. Cool. I gotcha. To moving it through your body and giving it geometry. It's another aspect of a physical reality like the earth, is that geometry is so important here. Because in the higher frequencies of oneness, oh, that etheric love where we're all just connected and there's no contrast, there's no form that creates an opportunity to experience something. And letters, typing it in, giving it form, moving it through your body and writing it down on a page, it's actually you using your mastery. I mean, you are a magician ascended master coming back to this planet during a time when we are increasing the light quotient here on the planet. But you taking something from your mind that's like, oh, wow, this totally makes sense, and you move it through your body and you writing it, physicalizing it here on the planet is an example of you being a master alchemist creator being. And I want you all to get the fullness and richness of the magic that was here for you today. So please type in the comments what your biggest aha moment was. Also, please know that if you typed in a question and I didn't address it live, that you will be getting intelligence from your Akash dropping in. So be aware. Don't get too caught up in the stresses of life because you'll miss it. You got to slow down and become more present. But the answer will become available to you. I will also do my best to come back to this broadcast, circle back, and provide some answers and intelligence for the questions that we didn't get to live here on the air. I love you all. Thank you for being here. You're the best thing about my Wednesday. I learned so much through the questions that you ask. And I thank you all for being here. And I'll see you back here again real soon.